Hi. How is everyone doing today? This is attorney Ifama Odunlami from the immigration law firm, Odunlami Law Firm in New Jersey, here to assist intending immigrants with getting their legal status, um, and with also getting their citizenship. So it's been a while I chatted with you guys, but I was trying to figure out what to discuss today, and then a bunch of things happened in the office, and I just wanted to go over it with you guys. So if you're just joining in, thank you for joining me. Let me know where you're joining from on the comments. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube. And I don't have a lot of time today, about 20 minutes. So I will try to get through some of the things I want to talk about, because what I would want to talk about is quite a bit. So let's see what we can get through. So, thank you guys for joining again. My name is Ifama Odunlami, immigration attorney from the Odunlami Law Firm in Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. We serve clients in all 50 states with your family-based and humanitarian-based immigration matter. We do a lot of VAWAs, U visa, T visa, SJIS, marriage-based. So I am so excited to discuss this. I heard this. I heard that USCIS is really thinking outside the box when it comes to figuring out if a green card marriage is real. Now, you all know that there is a severe penalty. I talk about this all the time for being in what is called a sham marriage. It's called 204C. What 204C means is basically it's a permanent bar, subject to very few exceptions. It's a permanent bar to ever getting a green card. So I'll give you an example. If you got married to somebody maybe like 20 years ago, and USCIS made a finding it was a sham marriage, and you subsequently got married to another US citizen, and you had children, it was a real marriage, clearly, you might go for an interview and they wouldn't even ask you any questions about the current marriage. They will be talking about the first sham marriage determination. You have to be able to prove that that first marriage was not a sham marriage. Otherwise, you cannot get any benefits. You cannot get a green card from anybody. So, we have people who come for consultations, and many years ago, they were involved in a sham marriage or accused of being involved in a sham marriage. And, and now they're in another marriage and they're still being denied. So that's why it's so important that when you prepare, first of all, it's really important that you do not do sham marriages. Please don't do that. It's not worth it. The consequences are too severe. And number two, it's not there are many real marriages, many genuine marriages that USCIS will call sham marriages because the person has not met their burden of proof. So that's why it's so important that when you submit your green card petition, that you don't take it for granted that USCIS is just going to believe you because you say, oh, it's a real marriage. The burden of proof is on you to show them that it's a real marriage. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, because I heard that there are a couple of things that USCIS is doing, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that. One thing I heard a week or so ago was that USCIS had requested a marriage. There's a couple who had filed a marriage petition, and as part of their investigation, their fraud investigation, USCIS had requested their Ring doorbell recordings. You guys know what a Ring doorbell is. You have a Ring doorbell. It records who comes in, who goes out, that kind of stuff. They wanted to see that the couple actually live together. So if you have a Ring doorbell, you should be expecting that USCIS may be asking for you to give them the footage so that they can verify that you and your spouse are in a real marriage. Hi, good morning, Kamlesh. Good morning, Amarji. Thank you guys for joining. So, now in the past, USCIS would call neighbors, maybe go to even places of employment and ask your neighbors, do you know these people? Are they a couple? Or sometimes they will come to the house of the couple like at 6 a.m. because they always come really early in the morning to make sure that the couple are together. Now, I heard another case where the couple went for an interview, and right after the interview, the immigration officers followed them home because they wanted to see the house. They wanted to see that um, there was indications that both of them lived together. And when they followed them home, there was clothing for the U.S. citizen in the closet. They made him wear it to make sure that it was his. They made him try on the pants. They made him try on the shoes. They made him try on all the clothes. This is right from the interview. I never heard of that before. So this is all to tell you guys that it is so important when you present your marriage-based case that you present a powerful package. We're assuming that nobody is going to be doing a sham marriage. So we're assuming that you're in good faith marriages. And so we're telling you now that you have to, really do it right. And these days where marriage-based petitions are waiving, interviews are being waived. We've had so many cases. We haven't even had, we've had cases approved in 2 months, 3 months, 10-year visas, marriage-based cases. And that's because when we prepare the petition, we really go deep and just make sure that our clients are giving us the good stuff. Sometimes clients are like, do you really need this? It's going to take me a while. Yeah, we need it because we want to make sure that you have your best foot forward. Because if USCIS thinks for some reason that your marriage is fake, it starts a whole bunch of, investigations and problems. So what I want to talk about today is what are the things that would alert or would make USCIS think that your marriage is not real, right? Number one, if the spouses have different addresses on their driver's licenses or state IDs. Now, I've talked about this before. A lot of people don't change their driver's licenses unless they really need to, because DMV is not fun. Nobody wants to go there, right? So you move addresses, maybe one partner changes, but the other spouse doesn't. And then all of a sudden you have an interview and you're like, oh my God, we have to, we have to show that both of us live in the same place. And you go maybe the day before, the week before, or, 3 weeks before, and you go and get your driver's license, to reflect where you live. Let me tell you, USCIS will check and they will know that you just recently changed that address to match your spouse's, and it's going to make them question why. Now, most people know that. We all know that. A lot of times we don't do it because we don't have the time or we don't think it's that important, but that's a red flag because they're going to think that you only changed your address just because you had an interview coming up. And they're going to think that it's not a real relationship because you were supposed to have moved together to this other address like 9 months ago. So why are you just changing your address 3 weeks before? So those are the things you need to watch out. Hi, Stainless. You heard about it too, right? Yeah, it is. Look, technology is out there, USCIS also checks the USPS, the mail, to see whether where's your mail going to. If your mail is going to an address that's different from what you have, you put in your application, that's something you're going to have to explain. So my point is, don't do things that's going to make your case more complicated or more difficult to explain, because USCIS is not, they don't believe they're on the side of, we don't believe you until you tell us, until you have other things that show it's true. So just because you're in a bona fide marriage does not mean that they believe you. I'm going to tell you that because I've seen a lot of relationships that are so real. It's real. You can see it, and you're wondering, why did USCIS deny them? Because the clients, they come to me after they've been denied, and maybe they didn't use an attorney because they were like, oh, for sure, we know that. Everybody knows it's for real. We have pictures, we have this, we have that. And they don't understand why they were not. And sometimes it's just one little thing that sets the USCIS officer on, a Sherlock Holmes investigation. So another thing that could be a red flag is when the spouses do not live, for real, they do not live in the same, they don't live together. And so, of course, there are many reasons why people don't live together. It could be that there's one person is a student, which is typically the reason. You're going to school in University of Chicago, and your spouse lives in New Jersey, but you're in college, and so you know, um, that's why you don't have the same address. That's why you don't have shared utilities. You have to be able to show that you guys plan to live together at some time. You want to show that when you're on vacation, you're going back to your primary residence, which is where your husband lives. You want to show that your husband or your wife is coming to visit you where you are. You have to show there's interaction. You have to have text messages showing that you guys are interacting with each other. You're a couple. You want to show other things such as your friends, your family know you guys to be a couple. So it's not one thing that is dispositive, but you want to really have good evidence so that if you're not doing, if there's an issue, you can, it's clear that there is enough of the good evidence for them to believe your explanation on the other one. So now it makes no sense if both of you say you both live in the same city and you're not living together. That just makes no sense. Or you say my spouse lives in Chicago and I live in New York because I have a job in New York. Well, why can't you find a job in Chicago? Why can't your spouse find a job in New York? Especially if it's a job that is not a specialty job. Say you're working for Walmart. Chicago has Walmart. New York has Walmart. It makes no sense that you're not leaving your Walmart job in one state to go and live for you and your spouse to live together. I'm going to tell you straight up, that makes no sense. So now, there are other reasons why people don't live together. As long as you're able to explain yourself, right, that's fine. I'm not here telling you that if you don't live together, your marriage is going to be denied. I'm just saying it's a red flag, which means that you have to be able to explain it in a credible way. All right. All right. So let's talk about if you and your spouse speak different languages. Say your spouse speaks Portuguese, you speak English, your spouse doesn't speak English, you don't speak Portuguese. Guys, that's a red flag. How are you communicating? How did you start dating? How are you guys? That's kind of one that is kind of hard to explain because how did your relationship develop? How did you get to the stage you got married when you guys don't speak the same language? That's something that needs to be explained. Now, another red flag would be if you married somebody really quickly after you met, right? Now, like I say, it doesn't mean that your green card won't be approved, but it's just something that USCIS notices and they check to see, do you have other evidence that's convincing so that we can, because people get married really quickly, they do. People get married really quickly. People, everybody, people do different things, but it seems that when you're an immigrant, there's certain things, or when you're an intending immigrant, there's certain things that USCIS sees as suspicious. For instance, if you're an F1 and you're just about to finish school and you get married, and they know that you're about to lose your status, or maybe you finished OPT, and they're assuming that you're looking for somebody to help you with your status. So if you're in that position where you're almost out of status and you get married, then you're going to have to show that it's a real relationship where how long did you guys date? Do your families know each other? That kind of stuff. So I'm just telling you some of this stuff, just so you get thinking. It helps you to make sure that when you submit your package, that you're submitting credible information that shows that you are in a valid marriage. Now, there's another thing that USCIS finds very suspicious. It's when two people are married and it's clear that they're not, they don't really have much in common, right? So you have somebody who is super, super, super educated, right? PhD, working has a great job or whatever, and then they're married to somebody who is not educated, has spent a lot of time in jail, a drug addict, you know, it's kind of like that there's a disparity that they question, like, um, what's going on here, you know? So, does this happen in real life? I'm sure it does, but I'm just telling you that those are signs for USCIS that this is not a real relationship. Maybe it's a relationship where one person is helping the other, because it's clear that they don't have much in common. So, now another red flag is if your US citizen spouse has filed for several people, right? Two or more, they take they look at that again, you know, strict scrutiny. Now, what else? Because I'm gonna wrap up soon because I only have like another 5 minutes. Now, if your spouse has kids from prior relationship and they don't live with a couple, right? And there's no reason for, especially if the children are younger, this is what typically happens. You have maybe, let's say the U.S. citizen is a woman, and she has young kids, and you guys are married, but the young kids live with an aunt or grandma, and you know they wonder, you know, and then or you have a situation where the U.S. citizen will live with you sometimes and then go live with her children other times, you know, where somebody else is watching her kids. That makes them think it's like a contractual relationship, you know. So you want to be aware of all of those. Of course, the biggest thing is the interview, where when you're interviewed, they ask you questions to see how well your lives are meshed together. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions and then I will head out. So, Alaji says, good morning. Best attorney has been 9 months now after filing VAWA with adjustment of status. Still no EAD or AP. Is that normal? So, Alaji, yes, it is normal, actually. Normal is what USCIS says it is. So if you go on the case processing website, you will see that they're telling us that you can get your, I think it's 11 months, 10 or 11 months that you can get your EAD. I think it's 11 months because I checked it recently. However, there are people who get their work permits and their EAD within 5 months. There are people who get it within 3 months. There are people who get it within a year. So as long as you have the receipt that shows you filed the I-360, you filed the I-485, I-765, I-131, then you know, you're good. However, one thing you can do is you can request to expedite it. If you are suffering severe hardship, for instance, you're about to lose your job, you're about to be kicked out of your home, that's something that you could do, okay? Yes, do an expedited request, Alaji. So, Adachuku Ejikeme says, how long does it take for USCIS to send an RFE after an interview? It depends. Sometimes they send it depends, 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes them a month. It depends on the officer. You know, there's some people that don't even hear from USCIS for like a year after the interview. So it depends. That's the thing about immigration. Really, a lot of things depend on the officer who is working on your case. But like I tell people, the one way to get your case moving is to file a writ of mandamus, sue the government. Don't be afraid. There's no consequence. They will have to respond, okay? So I'm going to answer one more question and then I have to go. I'm going to go to Instagram now. So Anthony Senate says, good morning, ma'am. My I-360 got approved. I'm on R1. My employer filed my next stages last week. When will I get the case numbers? So your employer filed, congratulations, first of all. And your employer filed next. It all depends. Anthony, like I just said, USCIS, their timeline is just really, you know, it's just really awkward. So what I can tell you is, you can call the 800 number and just get you know, talk to them, see um, what they have to say, and you know. But congratulations on your I-360 getting approved. Typically, I can tell you that in my office, it typically takes anywhere from 3 to 5 months after an I-360 is approved for us to hear from USCIS on the other stages. Okay. All right. Somebody says, can you repeat the lawsuit name? Oh, writ of mandamus. Writ of mandamus. That's what it is. It's a writ of mandamus. I was thinking, what lawsuit? And all that. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to chat with you guys. I love chatting about immigration, and I will be back. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.